So everyone is experiencing price increases, but we actually, with the flagship model, decreased the price, which we thought was very important.
The R10 feels like a product and more like a statement. Was that intentional?
It was the new point of reference because its predecessor was the R11, and that was discontinued in 2018. So we needed a new flagship model, and that really just took its time. But that was, we're a family-owned business, which is very rare in 2026. So no outside investors. It's just the founder and his son, Mats. Mats is our current CEO and has been running it for 11 years now. So with being just a family business, we can kind of decide which way we want to go. No one is forcing us to do anything. We can kind of feel the market. So of course the R10 is a statement piece, but it's also a new point of reference to kind of create the technologies needed for bringing the R series in general into the new generation or to a new kind of revised version. Yeah, but it was a very chaotic political climate to introduce it in last year, especially at 150,000 euros. But we can see that the market is adapting, and there was actually a very good place for it and has been selling well. And even with that price tag, it's still 30% less than its predecessor. So everyone is experiencing price increases, but we actually, with the flagship model, decreased the price, which we thought was very important. Also to showcase that it doesn't necessarily always has to be more expensive. We can also improve on how we manufacture to make sure that we finalize a product that is even better at an even better price. Yeah. With the trapeze, we did some of the techniques for the R10. So the trapeze is, depending on the country, 17,500 euros a pair, in comparison to the R10 at 150,000. So a huge contrast, but they feature the same tweeter.
So you kind of already answered the following question, but so this was about creating a new flagship for the company, creating a new open door to the market in the new upcoming generation, not about selling units then.
That's not the main focus, to sell units, because we have a vast portfolio. So people can buy, from 1,200 euros a QR1 SE at a two-way stand-mount speaker and upwards. So the catalog is very vast. So the R10 wasn't intentional on just selling a lot of pieces, but it is being praised very well all over. All reviewers like it, and everywhere I travel with it, people get a new point of reference in regards to sound quality and detailing and the capabilities of a speaker, so to speak. So it wasn't the intention to sell a lot, but fortunately we did.
It kind of worked out that way,
yeah,
which is good.
Yeah.
8-year rear-firing woofers, it is a bold move.
Yeah.
Some would argue it complicates real-world room integration.
Yeah.
What gave you the confidence that would become a limitation, that wouldn't become a limitation?
We had a similar setup with the R11. So we knew the kind of construction with having this line array of bases. And it's not really as hard to control in a room as a 15 or a 17-inch would have been. That can easily be overpowering and over-dominant. These smaller units are more agile, and you can actually create a more complete bass reproduction. So we weren't afraid of it all, just to say, and it works like a charm. It's not really hard to position that kind of speaker, even though it looks, very bombastic. It's a big speaker, 100 kilos, yeah. But it's quite easy to position in a room. Also a smaller room than the ones we're using at this event. It could easily be, in a 70 or 80 or 90 square foot room without being too dominant. So the smaller units, unison just works very great. And you get a more, to us, aesthetically pleasing design. That was important too, because we care a lot about Scandinavian design approach and aesthetics, at least what to us is aesthetics. We think this kind of slimmer teardrop shaped cabinet is more visually nice to look at. But we still needed the power of a speaker of that size, so we had to add up to 8 8 units in
There's a
each
lot of
speaker.
authority,
It
I
is,
think.
yeah, and it's still easy to run. So it's still 90 dB sensitive in 8 ohm. So you don't need a power plant to make it work. You know, less as we've used today, it can easily function as well. Yeah.
And how much of what we are hearing with the R10 setup is the speaker, and what is the rest of the setup?
In hi-fi in general, system matching is a thing. It really is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, expensive gear being a right match. That's not necessarily how it works. But of course, the speaker is what you are hearing. It's reproducing the signals that it's being received. So it will be the last that you audit as a spectator or as a, you know, listener. So it's to us at least the most important part of a system. And I'll guarantee you that the R10 will kind of showcase faults if there is any in the system, because it's, you know, it's that well detailed. So if there are any issues, it will come to life. But yeah, it is what you're hearing. It is the final step of the journey. So we think, of course, it's the most important part.
Definitely. And with 90 decibels sensitivity in such a complex driving array, what kind of amplification do you believe truly unlocks the R10?
I will say we keep a lot of different electronics at the factory in Copenhagen, because we want the products in general to perform with any kind of amplifier. If it's a solid state or a tube amp or whatever people have a preference, it should work. So as long as it's good quality and the right system matching. So, you know, 80 watts isn't necessarily 80 watts. It really comes down to a lot more of the construction of an amplifier. But we did a feature with the R10 and with the trapeze that we introduced 2 years ago to kind of help the consumer or the listener to adapt the speaker to the damping factor of your amplifier. So there's a switch, a physical switch on the back terminal port of the R10. So you can kind of match the speaker to the damping factor of your amplifier. So if you have something of electronics that you prefer currently, you should be able to make it work with, you know, all the Audiovector speakers having this feature. Yeah, exactly. So it's just a recommended setting, but, you know, you can do to your own personal preference. I think that's a very nice feature for listeners to kind of have this, oh, I prefer this one or I like this one, to kind of tweak your system. So you don't have to skip your electronics that you currently have. No, you should be able to maybe make the speaker match your current amplifier a bit. Yeah, so I'll say like 100 watts worth of quality, like a CH Position or Solution or AccuPhase or something like that, and everything about that should suffice.
One sentence, who is the R10 really for?
Who was it for? I want to say for everyone. No, but it can definitely ignite some new emotions, and it can, for many people, maybe set a new point of reference.
And with the R10, what first strikes us is a clear focus on scale, openness, and speed. Is that the core of what Audiovector sound is?
I think like a sound philosophy is that we want to make natural sound. We want engaging sound. We want, you know, foot tapping sound. Something that is non-fatiguing and that can work in a natural environment, like in a home setting, not a studio, just a home setting, because that's where we want the speakers to be, you know? And being a part of a modern home, it should more be musical playing furniture than a speaker setup. So we kind of differ from this traditional setup and more have it being a part of our home. So it's a big part of it, really, to make speakers that can fit in a natural environment and make a natural sound, lifelike and engaging. It doesn't really matter the genre. It should just, you know, everyone can walk in, oh, I like this track or I like this artist, and it should be nice.
Because it does. When the setup is the one for you, it is foot tapping music.
Yeah, yeah.
It, regardless of the gender, it moves. And I think I'm not like in the technical part, I'm more in like the feeling part. And for me, it's not what is technically good. It's what makes my brain go tick.
Yeah, that's the best thing, really. That's the best thing.
That's the ultimate goal of sound equipment.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we, audiophiles, tend to forget.
Yeah, really, yeah, we do. We
We
do.
listen to machines.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the ultimate goal is to listen to music.
Yeah, have people being engaged and interactive with one another and enjoying. That's the main focus.
Audiovector built a strong reputation around upgrade paths.
Okay, upgrade path. Like, okay, you can go from a signature and upwards.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
sure, got it. Yeah.
Did the R10 step away from that philosophy? And if it did, why?
We actually did that earlier on, 2 years ago, with the trapeze, because that is only one. There's only
This
one.
is,
Yeah, just the
final-
trapeze reimagined, just that one speaker. So when you buy it, you get the best that you can get, just in one package. And we did the same with the R10s. The upgrading was very nice, but we see the mechanisms in the market changing a bit, because the second-hand market pricing on Audiovector products is still very high. So you can still get a very good price for a 8 or 10-year-old Audiovector speaker, like in almost any market I know. So it makes more sense nowadays to kind of trade in your current ones to your dealer or sell it on the gray market and buy new instead. Because there was a lot of logistics mechanisms shipping speakers from around the world to the factory, and there's a lot of man hours going into remodeling a speaker to the next generation or the next step, because it's a quite vast change. So it makes more sense in our modern market to trade in and to buy new.
Okay.
And then of course it's a mechanism of in time simplifying, so making less options to choose from. So we make sure that people get the best the first go. So also last year we made the Freedom cable for all R10 models as standard. So when you buy an R10 model, you get the best you can get from the get-go, and you don't need an add-on, you don't need an upgrade.
Okay.
You got the
It's
best
the
you
new
can go.
strategy.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Makes sense.
also introducing new models. So with the Trapeze and the R10, we're still adding on into the portfolio, and then we also need to make sure that we are not having too vast of a selection. Kind of Murphy's Law, if people can't, if there's too much to choose from, you can't really decide. So we think it's easier to make sure that we have the sizes right that could fit people's preference and room, and then just one spec to the vast extent of it. Yeah, yeah.
At this level, you're stepping into ultra high-end arena, right? In your opinion, where does the Audiovector position itself differently?
In this world of ultra high end.
There's a lot of things to be said about ultra high end. I think it comes down to what we talked about earlier. What you prefer, because you will always
What do
have
you like?
some definite preference to a power filtration system or that kind of tweeter. But we're doing the best we can, how we think it's best, with no one outside telling us what to do. So if people like the sound characteristics of Audiovector, then they should be able to get more of the good stuff going up the different ranges.
There's a audio vector path, and you go that way.
Exactly, that's what we hope at least, and we can see that.
There's a characteristic to the product that defines what is Audiovector, and then if you like one, you probably will like the next one because it's all in the same line of thought.
Exactly. So you get more of the good stuff as you advance. Yeah, but going back to the question, there is a lot of great products out there at carrying hefty price tags, and it will be a matter of preference. But we're doing it as good as we can, and with heart and soul, and the kind of philosophy of the brand being very close to what we manufacture. Yeah.
That's good. What did you learn with the R10 that we could expect to be trickled down to the more accessible models, and what do you learn that you will probably never do again?
I think already with the trapeze, we did some of the techniques for the R10. So the trapeze is, depending on the country, 17,500 euros a pair, in comparison to the R10 at 150,000. So a huge contrast. but they feature the same tweeter.
Okay.
So with the trapeze, we made the new reference tweeter, also put into the R10.
Okay.
So in that way, it trickles down, you know. And the units, you know, is just as capable in the trapeze and as is in the R10. So of course techniques will trickle down, but it takes time, and we're not in a hurry. We really believe that the product should have a long life cycle. It's important to a privately owned business that when you buy a product as well, you can have it for many years, and it won't be changed, you know, every 24 months. So the circle of life is very important too. So of course something will trickle down into the other models, especially in the R range, but it will be in due time. We're not in a hurry. We need to make sure that it's done right the first time instead.
In one sentence, who is the R10 really for?
Who was it for? I want to say for everyone. No, but it can definitely ignite some new emotions, and it can, for many people, maybe set a new point of reference. And I think that's very important. And then people can kind of start their journey. But it's always nice to showcase, you know, this is the top, this is the best we can do. And then you can have some of the really good stuff at your house for another price too. But you know, the R10 it should be for everyone, and we intend to make the systems everywhere I go in a manner that everyone can enjoy it. So we have maybe a more aggressive toe in to make sure that we got a more vaster soundstage so more people can enjoy it. And then if it has to be more intimate, people should visit their local dealer, you know, have a more intimate kind of experience with it. But here for shows, I think it's important that everyone enjoys it. Also people that are not necessarily hi-fi connoisseurs, there should be, you know, a place for inspire people as well. So it makes for, you know, very loyal customers. So being 46 years old of a company, we have a lot of loyal customers that also are very great, you know, brand ambassadors, because they see more of the good stuff happening, but not huge changes. So it's a family business in every, you know, aspect of it. Yeah, and I think that's very important.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for answering our questions.
Of course.
And
thank you,
I hope you come back to Portugal soon.
I am certain
with the better weather.
yeah, I'm certain I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.